Hi, I'm Joachim Sebastian, founder of Everpeaks Consulting. Welcome to the panel session for local brands expanding globally. Together with me here today, we have Mr. Andrew De Jesus, we have Debbie Chai and Lian Delos Reyes, right? Each of them represent a very specialized, focused kind of entrepreneurship journey, different entrepreneurship journey, and we'll be asking them some critical questions about how they expanded their brands globally, right? So we have different businesses from breast milk-based businesses to fashion and beauty and into furniture, right? So different categories here, and they all have deep insights about the business, and we're very happy to have each and every one of you here today. Firstly, again, thanks to Payoneer for organizing this event, and we appreciate you thinking about the small business owners during the COVID-19 pandemic that has affected businesses globally. We want to use this opportunity to, number one, share some insights with each and every one of you who is listening to this panel session today. And we also want to give the opportunity for all the brands featured here as well to potentially connect with consumers and customers around the world. So please go to the exhibit session and interact with the brands that are there. It is a very trying time for a lot of businesses here today, and we hope we can get your support as well. So without further ado, I'm going to start the introductions with myself first, what I do in my background, and then we can go with Mr. Andrew, then we'll continue with Lian, and then we'll go with Debbie. Is that okay, everybody?
Sure.
Okay, all good. Okay, so just a bit about myself. My name is Joachim Sebastian. I am the founder of 3 different companies in Malaysia: Everpeaks Consulting, Kratos Motorsports, and Creative Sdn Berhad. I'll focus on Everpeaks, which is an e-commerce enabler for the ecosystem. We help brands grow globally through the global marketplaces such as Amazon and eBay. We are the first Amazon service provider network member and eBay channel partner in Malaysia. We also are partners with Shopify to enable brands to grow their websites, and we function as an outsourced team for brand owners around the world to enable their global e-commerce business model, where they don't have to find expert talent, they don't have to search for this expertise, which is most of the time not easy to find, right? Specialize in e-commerce, and we work together closely with brands globally. Okay, that's me. I'll pass the introduction to Mr. Andrew. Go ahead.
Hi, Joe. Thanks. So I'm Andrew De Jesus. I am currently CEO of PJ Parawood. So basically, we are OEM supplier doing furniture, selling globally, both offline and online, just the same as Joe. So we have our brands in Amazon and all major retailers. We're doing offline with Walmart, Walmart.com, Wayfair. Same as Joe, handling 3 businesses. So I'm also a partner with N Squared eCommerce. We're an enabler based in Southeast Asia. And also Weeks Trading, a company based in the Philippines, which distributes all omni-channel as well. So PJ Wood is basically the largest exporter out of Thailand. Basically, we focus on sustainability.
Perfect. Okay, we go next to Lian, please.
Hi, my name is Lian. I am originally from the Philippines, but I'm currently based in Canada, where I'm trying to do my business, which is Milksta Mommy Inc. So Milksta, we together with the help of manufacturers, of course, I created lactation drinks for mothers, breastfeeding mothers specifically. So I initially started online, which is Amazon. I'm doing Shopify, and slowly I'm getting into brick and mortar to retail, retail stores and community shops.
All right, thank you, Lian. So we've got already 2 Amazon sellers over here, so we can actually tune in and just focus on what's the biggest problems you had on Amazon. I'm sure we have a huge list of things to talk about, right? But then before we go into that, Ms. Debbie, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. I'm Debbie Chai, and I own Reyes. It's a brand of precision manicure tools. So before this, I spent a decade as a business news reporter and editor, and that career took me most recently to New York City, where about 70% of everything that I bought was purchased online. So at the time, I rarely needed to walk into a brick and mortar store unless it was to try on some shoes or to have a meal at a restaurant. So when I returned to Singapore, where I'm from, I had the opportunity to learn firsthand about the manufacturing of cuticle nippers. And that was how I started selling nail beauty tools. And I knew that I needed to find a ready worldwide audience for my products. So I chose Amazon as my e-commerce platform. So that's me, Amazon as well. That's about 6 years ago. So now I sell on 11 Amazon marketplaces around the world. I mainly source from Vietnam and China, but I'm always on the lookout in other countries for high performance products that are just a little bit better than what is widely available.
Awesome. So some sourcing strategies that Debbie has already started to share with you guys. So stay tuned. I'm sure there's a lot more insights that each of our esteemed panelists will be able to share with you throughout our conversation here today. So I'm going to kick the ball off straight away. Let's dive in deep. We don't want to waste time with the attention that we're getting with this panel. So let's go straight into it. So Andrew, first step in expanding globally, what did you do to actually enable export sales for your business?
So like Joachim, so we started basically as a B2B OEM supplier for all these major retailers. Then our goal was to set up our own brand. So initially, I think the first step is to have a very clear mindset of what you're going to do. Uh, because how we see this thing, it's a long-term business wherein there's going to be pains initially. So the very first thing that we have to do is make sure that you have the mindset there. And in my case, because we already have the core business, right? So I have to find the correct person to be able to go through the challenges. For example, like each country, for example, the importer of record of Canada will be different from US or Australia. So I have to find the correct person to manage this business. Wherein, because there's no rule book here, you just have to fix the problem along the way. Finding the correct person, and of course, we have to make sure that we have the correct product that is globally correct. In our case, we have already tested our product. So we already have the offline experience there. What we don't have is the brand recognition. So again, it goes back to me, mindset, having the correct person. If you're the one doing it by yourself, you just have to have like the correct mindset and just like learn things along the way. Don't aim for perfection. Just learn things along the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So basically,
definitely.
yeah. Yes. So basically, you cannot learn everything offhand. Yeah. So that's how we started it. Yeah. That's it from my side.
All right, perfect. I mean, 3 great insights there. First is don't try to be perfect when you want to execute, because then you won't even take your first step forward, right? Second thing is get the right person, and of course the right product to fit the market. Now, Mr. Andrew is a pretty unique chap over here, because he's actually a Filipino who is doing great work in Thailand, right? So he had to move into a different country, learn the ecosystem, probably figure out how things work over there as well. And I'm sure that has helped him normalize or actually execute a very effective export strategy, right? So now let's move to Lian a bit. So you've been doing quite a number of things, right? You came from the grassroots, like real grassroots level development of your business. What was the biggest difficulty or the largest setback that you've experienced in trying to establish yourself? Because you come from a background of maybe working for someone else, and you started your entrepreneurship journey in a sometimes considered controversial product, right? So
Yes.
would you share a bit about that, please?
Okay. So like what Joe was saying, I would say because my product is very niche.
First, what is that product?
It's lactation coffee and tea for breastfeeding mothers. So as you can see, I have a very limited targeted market, so breastfeeding mothers specifically. And dealing with food in the first place is kind of tricky, especially if I'm very sure working with food even locally is difficult. What more like bringing food to the US, bringing food to Canada, which is I would say is like the most difficult part of it. The development part is for me because it started as a passion project. So this, of course, it's fun. I told myself if nobody buys them, I will drink them all. That's my initial, that's my initial, that's my initial thought. I told myself, but I was thinking very small because I really wanted to launch it in the Philippines, where I came from, and moringa, which is the very an ingredient of my product, is coming from there. But when I thought about, I started doing my research. I started to know the U.S. market. Oh, people are starting to know moringa. They have the knowledge about it. So I thought of like iterating the product in a sense that it will also fit with the U.S. market. So aside from moringa, I included ingredients that Americans drink, and that's when
Yes.
how I started to get into the U.S. marketplace. So the first step, for sure, in expanding globally is knowing your market and the buying power of Asians and the buying power of Americans are very different. Initially, I was thinking
Definitely, definitely.
I was thinking very small, like in terms of pricing, you need to do premium to what you're giving to your customers. So I was thinking this.
So Lian, just to elaborate on that a bit more, you say that you are not really prepared to price your products in an export market in US, right? And this is something that we see with a lot of companies where, us as Asians, we're very humble and we're very, I want to sell it with value for my clients. And again, we're Asians. We like our discounts, right? We love our offers. We love our promotions. Without that, it's not going to work. So was this a major setback? You started off when you priced your product probably too cheap?
Yes, I initially that was everyone that I talked to, because of course I talked to people like you, Joe, that Amazon consultants, people who are experts, and the first thing they told me, you're selling it cheap. It's like your price is too low, because I was in the mindset of selling to Filipinos, selling to Asians, and I wasn't thinking about the Americans' buying power.
Yeah. So that's great. That's a great insight that you shared, because a lot of small business owners and those who just start their journey on selling products, they don't understand the potential of the export markets, number one. And sometimes it's not about throwing prices, right? Then you're going to go against the giant manufacturing hub of China if you're playing on prices. It's not something that most sellers can actually do unless you have that capacity. So for the small business owner, for the guys who are just going on Amazon or e-commerce, now I want to take this question to Debbie. Debbie, you're in one of the most competitive categories on online everywhere, right? If you talk about beauty, expanding to the nails and whatever else products in that entire region, whether it's cosmetics, eyelashes, nail polish, is hyper competitive categories, which also have major big players coming into the game, right? They're coming for your share of the market. So what did you do to overcome these major barriers, number one? And in your early stages, right, everything's short. You don't have enough money, you don't have enough inventory, you don't have enough cash flow, you don't have enough customers, so everything's short. What's one resource that you would choose to have when you were just starting to expand?
Okay, so two-part question. The first part was, how do I deal
Compete,
with
yeah.
so much competition, right? Actually, the product that I sell is super niche. So I know that I cannot get an advantage selling lipstick or makeup or nail polish. I'm not familiar with these products as well. But I'm familiar with the manufacturing of cuticle nippers, which are stainless steel cutters. So it's not a sexy product at all. It's steel based. We talk about chrome plating, gold plating, and the cutting edges. So it's a very technical, and it's all about German techniques used to make these products. So I went the niche way. I didn't want to take on the big makeup brands. So that started me off, and now when my brand becomes a little bit more established, then I can put in some more common products like nail polish, for example, and to expand my range of nail beauty tools. So that's that part of it. I think when you choose a product to sell, you have to be very careful to check the competition first. It's too crowded, don't go there.
Nope.
Don't go there. So the other part of the question is what I wish that I had now. What I wish that I had back then that could help me expand my business is more digital solutions or apps. So compared to 6 years ago, there are a lot more lightweight apps that I can subscribe to just for a few dollars a month. They can help me with accounting, with payments, with inventory management, with cost per click advertising. So it's a lot easier today to be a startup and to have help, be able to subscribe to these apps from all over the world. You're not limited to your own apps in your own marketplace. It's all online.
Yeah.
And for example, Payoneer, right? Online payment systems like Payoneer allow me to do business internationally using multiple currencies, and the fees are really low compared to traditional banks. So they've lowered the cost of doing international business, and so then becomes the world is our oyster.
Perfect. Oh, wonderful answer. So again, so many insights that I hope you guys are paying attention to what Debbie has just shared. She shared some of the fundamental principles of how you do market expansion, right? If you choose to compete in a very saturated niche, you're going to need big money, big resources to overcome the barriers of entry. But Debbie overcame that by having such an ultra niche product that allowed her to penetrate the market and build a brand. Now, remember, when you sell products, if it's nail extensions or it's nails itself, it still hits the same person. A person who has nails has hair, right? I mean, most of the time. A person who has hair has lips. So whoever does not have lips or hair, I'm pretty sorry, but generally you do, right? So that's another market there that once you build a brand, you can expand upon. So this is essentially captivating or capturing your audience and then remarketing and upselling a different kind of product, which is a typical e-commerce strategy. But most people don't understand the nuances of why you do so and which steps to do first. So Debbie, you nailed it you really hit the nail on the head with that. And thanks for sharing your particular journey when you first started, right? So as you journey along as an entrepreneur from 6 years ago until now, as well as for Lian and Andrew, you must have gone through a lot of instances where, like right now, the eyes that you see your world is different from the eyes at the start. Is there an instance or an opportunity that you want to share with fellow entrepreneurs over here about things that they usually will miss out on at the early stages of their entrepreneurship venture versus what you know now? So is there an opportunity that you see most fellow entrepreneurs ignore, and what do you think it is? So we'll start with Andrew first. Andrew, you're muted, Andrew.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so basically, I think one thing that is not on top of our mind normally is how smart the consumers are today. So we always would think that it's always price, right? Of course, it's always price, right? I mean, but there's, I think, as we grow the market, as e-commerce matures more, and also as our consumers become more mature, we are normally underestimating the how smart our customers are. So in our case, it's not just price. We are focusing for our brand. We are focusing on sustainability. This is one thing that we want to communicate to the customers, that we are not only selling a good product, but something that is also helping the environment, reminding them of our purpose as a company, that in our case, our internal purpose is to spread and made in Thailand sustainable home and living products around the world. So I think we always have to remind ourselves that the customers is becoming very smart every day, especially with all the
customers are king, and they're Very well educated at this juncture, right? Very accurate point. So don't underestimate your customers and treat them with respect, and you have a chance of getting somewhere. Debbie, would you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. I think for me, a lot of beauty entrepreneurs limit themselves to just thinking local. So the topic of this panel is very, very appropriate because like I was worried too when I started to expand into other markets. But these days it's a lot easier. Amazon makes it really, really simple for you. Just click of a button, you can go to, launch in a new market. So I think business owners should definitely take the leap and just do it.
Yeah, export, definitely. Export is the way to go. When I first started my journey 6 years ago, I was hunting around and trying to figure out how do I get money back from the US, right? And that's where I stumbled upon Payoneer and like, woohoo, it works. I was amazed. And that was like 6 years back, quite similar time frame that we started. And through the journey, of course, at the same exact experience that you see the apps and tools and processes improving year on year on year, making it so easy to penetrate the market with just a PC and a person behind the screen, right? So that's an amazing thing. Lian, do you have something that you know is a huge opportunity that you've seen and most people actually ignore?
Yes. Well, specifically the product that I got to in South. The reason why I put it into the US because I haven't seen anything like it. You can see it in Asia, in the Philippines. So when I saw that, of course, everyone goes to Amazon. You search. It's the first place that I search, and I want to find this product. Oh, I cannot find it there. So it's like the bells rang. I can bring it to the US. Because you can find anything on Amazon, like literally everything. But in terms of what I wish I knew before I even started, I cannot stress this enough. You have to start it right from the start. When I say, because I'm starting very small, I try to bypass some things like licenses, the banking, like I think Debbie were mentioning about the currency exchange. That was like a trap that I came to in the beginning. It's like when I started Amazon, it's I was living in Singapore then. Going to my Singapore bank, it's getting when it goes to the Singapore bank, it gets lower, like the value because of the currency exchange. That's when I actually stumbled upon Pioneer. I use Pioneer because when you use Pioneer, the money goes straight into the account with very minimal fees, and you get it in US dollars, which is the same money that I pay to my suppliers.
Exactly. So that was one of the core value propositions that a lot of people don't understand, even about Payoneer, right? Because Payoneer transacts your financial transactions when you withdraw from Amazon at mid-market rate, and they're very transparent about the fees and things like that. So other competitors, I'm not going to mention who they are, of course, don't do that, and they hide a lot of the fees in the conversion rate, and people don't understand and don't see it, so they don't realize that that's a huge differential factor there. Very fair point. So now let's tune down from all the business stuff. Let's talk about being an entrepreneur itself. So all of us here had the struggles of starting a company, hiring people, growing a team, not affording to pay yourself while you pay your staff. Has anybody gone through that as well?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a pretty standard entrepreneur journey, right? So it's a lot of times quite tough. It's a very tough journey, and a lot of times quite lonely, right? So what did you do to keep yourself motivated through these kind of situations? Like, Lian, you started your business probably off the back of working a full-time job, right?
Yes.
So how do you... Sorry, go ahead.
It's a side hustle turned to a full-time job.
Yeah, crazy time. So how do you keep yourself motivated and still have enough energy to build your business while you're working a job and trying to figure out the problems that come with entrepreneurship? So give me one instance how you keep yourself motivated.
Things like this, networking and talking to like-minded people. It's very important. It's very, very important. I can stress enough because right now
you had a community around you?
Sorry?
You had a community around you to support you during your time when you first was doing this? A community, a group of friends, or maybe people who are doing business as well?
yeah, people doing business. I cannot count how many Facebook groups I have joined in, ask questions, get consultants.
Mhm.
You know, it's like any talk to anyone, anything you think can help. Of course, you don't need to you take on everything that they say, but you know, it's very important you're open to all possibilities. You know, like Joe, like you've mentioned that you do consultancy,
Mm.
which is one step that I also took before because it's very very helpful.
Amazing. Thanks. You support all consultants like us, I guess. Debbie, what's your take on how you keep yourself motivated through the tough times? Beauty is not an easy industry. I give hats off to you. So how do you keep yourself motivated?
This is a pertinent question for me because when I started my e-commerce journey, I didn't know anybody who had succeeded in it personally. I didn't know anybody personally. So I depended a lot.
Yep.
It's quite basic. I mean, I depended a lot on my family and my close friends, and they've just been supportive because they believe in what I'm trying to do. But in the past year, I've met and connected with a lot of other entrepreneurs who are in the same boat, and we share insights and we encourage each other along. So like talking to people like you guys is really reaffirming.
Great, perfect. You see, a lot of times that even all of you who are listening to us today, we're not just a face, right? We're people behind the screens. We go through the same journeys. We have our insecurities. We likely walk the same path you are walking right now, and it's just at a different stage in time. So even those you see as greatly successful come likely from humble backgrounds and are more than willing to connect with you and share the information and support your journey as well. Entrepreneurs do that. So for those who are tuning into our session today, remember, if you don't take that first step forward to try to connect with someone else, you'll never know, right? Don't assume that they don't care. Don't assume that they won't help you. And there are a lot of great people out there. Like when I bugged the hell out of Pioneer, they reached out and we worked together for about 6 years after that. And it only happened because I reached out. So, remember to reach out. And just before we move to the next question, Andrew, you shifted country. So
Yes.
that's must be something big. So how did you keep motivated, and what was your motivation to move to Thailand?
No, actually, because of my wife. So that's the main reason. So my yeah, but
Okay.
overall, yeah, I think it's good to hear from you guys that one of the things is like reaching out, right? Normally, entrepreneurs would only see or read in the news or the positive things, but in reality, there's a lot of dips going on the background, right? So in my case, I think always reminding myself of the purpose of why we are doing this thing. Uh, it, Specifically in my case, roughly we have around 1,000 employees, both offline, online, right? Supporting. So our e-commerce still business is still small, but roughly reminding myself of the people who relies on us for their own personal livelihood is already enough motivation for me to keep on going every day. It's just the same. What I remind my teammates is basically, hey, you guys, we all here for one reason, right? To make sure that uh, our families uh, can survive. At the same time, if you can find other secondary purpose to do good for the community. So in our case, like I will always remind my teammates like, hey, we're doing things in Amazon, we're spreading things around the world. Let's make sure that when people see this product, when they see the made in Thailand, we are all proud of it. So again, whatever works for you, but finding your purpose is going to give you energy day in and day out, whether it's like earning a livelihood for your family, doing something for the community. Find that purpose, then that's going to help you day in and day out.
Perfect. That's strong. That's strong. I mean, motivation from within is always the strongest, and to build your sense of self based on what you do for others, again, is a noble cause. And there are many entrepreneurs who share that spirit. They are not there to just get a quick buck. They're not there to just get rich. They're there to build a life together with themselves and their team. So sometimes it's hard to track down translate that. Sometimes the team doesn't know, sometimes the economy doesn't know, sometimes market doesn't care. But that's what the journey is, right? Being an entrepreneur, you're breaking the iceberg, you're battling your own journey there, and it's tough. It's tough, right? So we're running short in time. It's been an exciting panel here. So I'm going to end with one last question to each of you guys there, and we'll start with Debbie for this. What is your one best advice to give to attendees who are looking to expand globally? Now, don't overlap with what we've said in the past. Something that's close to heart, something that you feel personally about your journey in entrepreneurship. Each of us have paid the price in blood, sweat, and tears to get to where we are right now. I believe each of you have as well, from your journey and from your stories that you've shared with us. So choose one piece of advice and let's share it with our attendees of the session today. Debbie?
Yeah, my advice is to do your due diligence, to do your research, so that you reduce the likelihood of facing any obstacles or any selling friction. And then once you do your research properly, don't wait, just go for it. Start your business, expand.
Perfect, exactly. Do your due diligence to reduce your risks, minimize your losses, do your homework, don't just jump in, but then don't stay doing research your whole life, right? Because then you don't move. So that's a strong point there. Lian, would you want to share yours?
In my case, seek help, but make sure it's the right one. Like you can find all the help you can see online, you can learn everything, but it's sort of a due diligence process as well. Make sure that you're getting the right help.
Perfect, exactly. And everybody online has an opinion, right? Everybody wants to tell you what to do, but you choose the right people to listen to. That's very key, and that's part about building a community and something that places like Payoneer do well. So they bring many people together under a different umbrella of fintech, but these are entrepreneurs, right? And they're somehow validated because, hey, the Payoneer users, they somehow have achieved certain number of sales. If not, Payoneer is not going to invite them to speak, right? So, these are things that you can listen to, or your local communities, or your local figureheads in entrepreneurship. Great advice. Okay, Andrew, would you want to give your piece of advice to the attendees?
Yeah, so I think we've talked a little about building a good team and then going through the dip. So, but I think that my bottom line here is test your assumptions. Test your assumptions. If it doesn't work, it's okay. Move on. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes will always happen. It's how you react to mistakes.
Exactly. There is no learning without mistakes. Mistakes are the best way you learn. But of course, as what Debbie said, try to minimize the cost of those mistakes, right? Do your due diligence as much as you can, but go ahead, go right on and break that ice, right? So we are actually at the end of our session today, and I'd like to thank all the attendees for joining us throughout this 25 minutes, a very short and impactful session. I want to thank Mr. Andrew De Jesus, who was willing to share his journey across being in the furniture-based industry, sustainable furniture. Lian, for being a person who has gone into such a niche product. And again, I'm very sure Backlash and whatever not was still willing to come in front here and share her journey with us, and Debbie as well, a journalist. Wow, imagine from that, journalism to beauty right now. So a different take. I hope you guys remember their names, connect to them on LinkedIn, ask some questions, and of course, reach out if you're within their ecosystem and talk to them. I'm pretty sure they can connect you with a lot more people that can help support your journey.